Here I am. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Oh, boy. Change the season and everything else. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. And I got another one for you guys. I think it's like a pet peeve of mine. And maybe this is not important to anybody else but me. And I'm not so sure, but I don't know. Every time I hear somebody talk about partners in terms of a relationship or a marriage, it's kind of cringeworthy because I really kind of think I understand what women mean by it, and I don't think men mean the same thing. So the title of this whole discussion, it's going to be Women Want Partners and Men Want Wives. And how do we bridge the divide? Like, because there's a disconnect. And that's what I believe. I'm going to get into it. Hey, listen, you're going to have your boy, at some point, I'm going to actually be quoting the Bible, man. You know what? This is going to be good for a guy who has one foot in the secular world and the other one in the non-secular world. So I'm going to quote the Bible to try to prove my point and maybe dispel some points of others. And I got an article. I had a couple of clips. I understand that we won't be able to show the clips for one reason or the other. YouTube is acting up. But anyway, I can talk my way through the clips and let's just see who we got in here. I saw Almond Eyes back there. Welcome. Thanks for always popping in. And I know it's still early for a lot of folks, so I know people start to come in a little later. I see you, Antoine. All right, man. Greetings. All right, that's cool. Yeah, stick around. Some of you guys might want to come up, and talk about it because I think I'm gonna hit on a couple of things, and maybe some people could set me straight. Hey, you know what? There's much ado about nothing, Rich. A partner and a husband, a partner and a wife is the exact same thing. And we can go ahead and go off into the sunset believing that shit is really true when I know it's not. Hey, what's that? Milani? Oh, hello. Welcome on. Before we get started, I'm just kind of warming things up here. Anyway, so BMU, I don't know if it was you. I guess you put something in the description by this guy named Christopher Lopez. I like to say right off the bat, I don't agree with how he wrote that. He sounds like he's a happy wife, happy life kind of guy. And he's talking about men being in cooperation and submission to their women. And I have maybe I misread it, but I certainly don't agree with the way he worded that. But it can get the ball. It's a conversation started. So let's get the ball rolling. Hey, listen, so one of the things I think that the genesis or the beginning of this word partner had its roots in the rainbow movement, right? When the time when they couldn't get married and they had to cohabitate, and their cohabitation had to have paperwork. And so they coined this phrase as my partner, right? And there couldn't be husbands and husband or wife and all that kind of stuff because it was illegal for them to get married. So I think that's where the genesis of this word partner came from. I remember one day I was at a family gathering, and this young lady, one of my cousins on another side of the family I haven't seen in years, she's a very beautiful woman. She came to sit down with me and my wife. And she says, so we were talking. She says, well, yeah, me and my partner. And I stopped her. I said, wow, you're a lesbian? Just like that, right out of the clear blue. I said, you're a lesbian? Because she was beautiful. I mean, if she was batting for the other team, it would be a big loss, fellas, for sure. And so she said, no. I mean, my guy, right? She showed me a picture of the dude. And I said, well, does he know you call him a partner? And then she told me they weren't married. They just like, well, I said, after that point, it really didn't matter. Because I don't believe that relationships really matter anymore anyway. I think when people say they're in a relationship, it's all bullshit. They're all really situationships, some just last years and some last months. But there's no real commitment in those. Verbal commitments don't mean shit as far as I'm concerned. So if you're not married, you're single. If you're not married, you're single. And we'll get back to that too. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I think there might have to be something in between being in a relationship where people just blowing smoke up each other's ass and being married. There's got to be something in there in the middle that folks could commit to and sign some paperwork. So we'll get to that. So one of the reasons why we start hearing women, especially Black women, I would imagine, because I don't look at so many white content creators, but I think women in general refer to whoever they're in a relationship is as a partner, whether they're married, whether they have what they call a relationship. They call them. I have, other than Take Heed to the Message and a few other women, nobody calls their man in a marriage a husband. All they're talking about is partner this, partner that. I said, what are you talking about? Right? So, because to me, when I hear the word partner, I just think of something that's secular, something that's transactional, just a business arrangement, and I'm with you just as long as you can live up to your end of the bargain. Hello, Randy. Hello. So that's what I think when I hear the word partner. And I hear it out of women's mouths almost all the time. And I'm starting to hear it out of men. I think men, we're shells of ourselves, I believe, because men have been acquiescing to bullshit, man. Just it's like we're just giving up. Right. So when I start hearing men calling, themselves a partner, I want my partner and all this other shit, man, I kind of cringe with that too, because they don't know that when they say the word partner, it don't mean the same as when a woman says it. Trust me, especially if you're going to marry her. If you're going to just go ahead and fool around and have a little Netflix and chill, bang it out and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you could partnership all you want, partner. But when you're married, you have to take a covenant. You have to take vows. Your relationship is a covenant. It's not a partnership. And we'll get a little bit into that too. A partnership is a subset of that. Of course, there's a business component to every marriage. You can't ignore that. But that's not the pinnacle. That's just a piece of it. It doesn't cover your partnership, doesn't cover your spiritual end of things, the intangibles, the things that help you grow as a unit, how you cleave to each other and meld as one. A partnership doesn't do that. Partnership is simply an agreement that's transactional, and you do your thing, I do my thing, and as long as it's satisfactory, we'll continue to do it. And that's my issue with people saying, "Hey, we're partners." Right. So, and so I try to warn the guys that, you might want to get along and to go along with your honey. And, you start using the word partner and you start acquiescing to, this word. And she's looking at you and she's playing chess and you're all in love and smitten and all that shit. And you're using the word partner, willing to do the kind of things a husband will do for a wife, through hook and crook, till death do you part. And she's saying, we're partners until you fuck up and I'm gone. Right? We have evidence of that all over the place. Right? I'm no longer happy. Fuck those kids and you. I'm leaving. Right? So that's all too common. And you sitting down here, well, I thought we were partners. Well, we are partners, but I no longer like the agreement. I want to change it. So, it's not that easy if you really believe in marriage and you have a husband, so, and, so my compromise position is that it's okay if you want to be a man's partner, and men, it's okay if you want your woman as a partner. Just don't marry her. Don't marry her. You sit down and you write up some paperwork and you say, okay, I'll do this and you do that and we'll share. God, heaven forbid you have children, so you need paperwork. You go to the hospital, I got a medical directive, I have a living will, those kind of things. You're going to need those paperwork. But if you marry her and she's looking at you as a transactional piece of paper, At some point, that transaction is going to have to come due, and you might not be living up to it. You get sick, you get hurt. Heaven forbid your dick ain't work no more. Forget it. So anyway, I'm just saying, it sounds it sounds like it's just benign, but it really isn't, because words have meaning. It's just like when a woman says, I don't need a man, I want a man. Now, to them, it just sounds good. It sounds profound, right? Because, yeah, I could take care of myself. I could pay my own bills. I could do all that kind of shit. But what does a man hear when he hears a woman say, well, I don't need you, but I want you? To him, it's just saying, okay, you like the way I bust it out in the bedroom. All right, so I'm your Huckleberry. I'll bust it out in the bedroom, and then you go your way and I go mine. That's what you want, right? Well, okay, that's cool, but don't ask me to come do nothing for you. Don't ask me to cuddle. Don't ask me to do none of that shit, because you don't want me. You don't need me for that. You just need me to bust it out. Hopefully I do a good job and shit, and then until next time. Saranaya, whatever. Sorry, farewell and shit. Call me up if you want to, when I'm back in the rotation. So anyway, but I'm having fun. I had a clip that I wanted to show that showed the difference between a life partner and a spouse. And essentially, I already said it. And I think this has this genesis again in the rainbow community, where they had life partners and they had to have paperwork. And so that's what I'm saying. If you're just in a relationship and your boyfriend and girlfriend and you're 35 years old, it kind of sounds kind of crazy to me, right? And if you don't want to get married because you want to be free to do whatever you want, that's fine too. But if you really want to have a committed relationship with somebody, what does that look like? Something in between the bullshit relationships people have and a marriage. What does that in between thing look like? And maybe that needs to be defined by the millennials and the Gen Zers and all those kind of people. You figure that shit out. But if you cleave to somebody for 5-10 years and you don't have no paperwork, you're making a grave mistake, especially if you have children, especially if one has assets and you don't. And especially if somebody gets sick. You don't have no say, none. So there's got to be something people have to do. Hey, Easy Money, what's going on, man? yeah, look it up, Easy. That's exactly what the definition of a partner is, God damn it. Look it up, brother. So anyway, oh man, so here's my thing. Okay, so if there was a video, and of course, Black David told me we can't show it because we have some copyright issues or some algorithm issues with YouTube. But the point of that whole video was to show the difference between, what a partnership, a life partner, and the paperwork that's required, and what's already default value if you're already married and your spouse. But my really point is that the partnership, as far as I'm concerned, is a secular kind of arrangement. It's mainly business. It's purely transactional, and it has tangible limits, right, on both sides. It's not just the wife, but women generally, are more strict on this thing. Men, if they're in a comfortable relationship, even a marriage, a quote unquote partnership marriage, they would tend to stay. But a woman is like, I'm thinking dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I'm no longer getting this out of this partnership. I'm no longer getting that out of this partnership. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and spin the Rolodex because it's time for me to leave. And women leave for all kinds of dumb shit. And we all know it. We don't have to go through the stats. It's all over the place. And so, but, like I said, but that's that. So I'm just saying, finally, this whole notion that marriage is a partnership, I don't think there's any spirituality to it at all. It's just a transactional relationship for convenience, and we put a label on it called marriage and expect that shit to last for a lifetime. I think that's a mistake. I really do. Because the intangibles of a real marriage, spiritually as a covenant, is a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. So I got so Black David, if you're back there, CBN, throw up that article, if you will. And we don't have to go through the whole article. It's a very short article uh, that I sent you on that link. If you hear me, all right. Yes, I know people can read it. I don't know if you can make it big or whatever, but you don't have to read it because I'm gonna tell you what it says. It says God's yeah, that's cool. God's marriage partnership plan, and so I read through this article, and some of it is by a female. You don't have to go any further down. It's by this lady. Her name is Erin, and it's written as if it was written by a lady, right? One of my first clues of this article, I give her some credit because in the beginning, at the very least, she referred to her husband, her man in her life, as her husband. And she says she learned two things: that one, marriage is a partnership, and second, God designed our differences to our benefit, meaning men and women are different. That's God's design. Well, my first problem with this whole sentence is that God's design should have been first, right? And I'm giving her kudos for at least recognizing and leaning into the fact that we are different, men and women. So so this is good. The second part of it, though, which I saw she had it flipped, when she said marriage is a partnership. Well, no, Erin, marriage is a covenant. Marriage is a covenant as opposed to a partnership. Now, it has partnership elements to it, but in all, marriage is a covenant. And I'm going to go through some Bible stuff to prove my point. Me here, Rich Payne, getting my gospel on. Okay? And, this is the part that I'm excited about. And so so I'm not going to spend too much time, going through this, but you guys tell me in the chat whether you agree or disagree that marriage is a covenant as opposed to a partnership. So and listen, listen. I'm only. I saw somebody say, "Well, I don't hear married couples calling themselves partnership." Well, partners, that's great. All I'm just saying is a lot of people in these YouTube streets who are not married. And so when they start talking about relationships, they're trying to give you the fact that either they, one, don't want to be married, or two, that when they do get married, they're still going to look at their spouse as a partner, right? So yeah, if you're already married already, I think you get it. Some of you do get it, that your wife, your spouse, if it's a woman, is your wife, and if it's a man, that's your husband. Don't ever, my wife will never introduce me as her partner. I'm not so sure about these newfangled people. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this article some more, right? So one of the things is that she refers to Genesis, okay, to prove one of her points about Genesis 2, chapter 2, verse 18, where she says, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a companion. That's what she wrote in this article. And I said, well, wait, hold on a minute. So I whipped out my trusty Bible, and it says, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a help meet. 2 words. And there's a big, vast difference between the help meet and a companion. Right. So even though she's the author, I'm reading to her words, I'm reading to her head, but I think she wrote companion because she thinks that being a helpmeet is less than. So let me go through a little bit of it. I think her, like I said, rewording the phrase, the passage, from helpmeet to companion, kind of denotes that she thinks being a helpmeet is has lesser value than being a companion. I think that's what she believes, right? So that's why she takes umbrage with the words helpmeet, But the words help me in this context means that the woman's purpose is to enhance the plan, to enhance and advance the man's plan for both of them, for the family. That's what is there. It's not like, hey, honey, go pass me a wrench. No, it's not that kind of help, right? And if you look at the words, you know, it doesn't say that a man should be alone. It just says man, right? So this is bigger than Adam and Eve, right? So there's no a man. It just says it's not good that man should be alone. That means all of us, men, even today, right? It's not good for us. This whole thing that behind a good man, a great man is a great woman, and blah, blah, blah. All those are offshoots about it. So it's not just help from the sense that your help is just something I use as a side. Actually, your help, being a helpmeet, is to help me meet the conditions of furthering our lives together. So that your help is meaningful. It has some relevance. And it's like I said, it's not, hey, honey, pass me a wrench. We're not talking about that kind of help. And when she used the word companion, the reason why that doesn't measure up is because companions could be a pain in the ass, right? They could be a passive traveler, just being an albatross around your neck. That's what a companion could be. It's still a companion. So when she changed that word, I had some really problems with that because I think she did it on purpose. And I don't know, maybe it's one of these evangelical Bibles or some shit, but that's not the words God said. And we ain't supposed to be over here changing his words because we're changing the meaning of the passage. So I had some issues with that. But you know what? I'm not saying she's not a great wife. I'm not saying any of that stuff. She just might be, but she has her modern day female proclivities. That's what I'm thinking. All right. So let me go a little bit further. Okay. She goes further on to Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, right? Where she says, where that passage we all heard before, two are better than one. And essentially it says that you work better as a team, right? That if one of you fall, the other one is going to be there to pick you up. And if you fall by yourself and nobody's there to pick you up, woe unto you, right? Because you don't have no helpers. Now, in the context of her passage, she's saying that this pertains to a partnership in a marriage. And she would be right. But it means more than that. It's not, this thing is a general term that any two people or more working together as partners can help get each other's back. So, she's trying to narrow the focus to say, well, it pertains to marriage, and she would be right. But that's not what this passage was written for, only. And if you read it in context to the whole chapter, you would get that. So anyhow, that's just my interpretation of it. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. So I don't want to hit her for that. But it only proves her point through the tangential. It's tangential to her point, right? So anyway, so listen, again. So when I go through this thing, I go into the point where, and this is where I'm going to get to the real point of this whole thing about what she wrote in this passage. I say marriage is not a partnership, it's a covenant. And working as partners together we work as partners together in a marriage for the sole purpose of fulfilling the terms of the covenant, not the other way around. When you cleave to your wife or she cleaves to you as a husband, everything you do as quote unquote partners at that level, even at a secular level or a business level or a spiritual level, is elevated to satisfy the requirements of fulfilling the covenant to God. So the partnership is not above the covenant. It's not, because she does mention covenant in her passage, but she says or it's also a covenant. Well, wait a minute, honey. No, 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 no. It's a covenant, and you know what? There's elements of it that's a partnership. So you got it backwards, and or you got it upside down. And so let me just kind of put this to bed, okay? If you go to the St. Mark 10:6-9, right? If that's that, this kind of puts this whole thing to bed, right? It says a woman who views her spouse as a husband. This is not what it says. This is some words I have before we get to the scripture. It says a woman who views her husband, is keeping a covenant with God, right? They both believe in the teachings of God, which considers marriage a covenant relationship, not a partnership relationship, but a covenant relationship. All right. So God created, so the marriage is a God-sealed covenant. So if you go to Mark 6-9, it says, and this is like in Bibleese, right? So I'm going to try to get it right. It says, but from the beginning, God made them male and female. This goes to all this other shit that's going on now. It's only two genders and two sexes, male and female, right? For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. And twain in this context means two is down to one flesh. So then they are no more twain, they're no more two, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. And that's the covenant. That's what I'm saying, right? It's a bond that you have that's God ordained. It's not a partnership that's secular and you write, you got 5 terms, I got 6 terms, and we just make sure we put checks in the boxes every week and we go on and have a life together and shit like that. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. So, and let me just kind of, and people could come up if they want to. I have a question after this. It's this thing. I dusted off my wedding video, and I've been editing it and all this kind of stuff, whatever editing means to an amateur like me, right? So I'm kind of put a narrative and stuff to it, and I want to show it to everybody. I do, but what's keeping me from doing that is that the memories in that video don't mean shit to none of y'all guys, right? And it means everything to me and the people in the family. But I think it's because we talk about relationships so much, we talk about marriage so much, we talk about, what it means to take the vows. I think it would be educational, maybe, if I put it out there. But, it's something about my ego that says, I don't want it to be about me per se, because I think that when me and my wife were standing in front of the minister, you could pretty much feel that everything we said we believed in. We didn't change none of the words. We didn't ask him to put some newfangled bullshit in there. We said the words, and I think it's poignant. So then we went through the reception, and I have a lot of good stuff in there. And then we went through our final thoughts. The music was real music. There was no rap and none of that stuff in there. And I think it's pretty good. So I did some editing. I put some of my commentary in there, which is probably messing it up, but I wanted to let people know what they were going to see next. And then I asked my wife to take a look at it to see if, to get her permission for the show, though, to see if she thinks I'm all wet, because I would re-edit it if she think I was saying something untoward. So I'm still wrestling with that, but I'd like to put it out there, and with all humility. That's what I would like to put it out there, because I think it would be beneficial for some people to see how we went through it. Not the fact that I was looking pretty goddamn good. And my wife was the most beautiful woman in the whole world to me. Oh my God. Anyway, so that's something. Listen, so I know I'm rambling, and anybody wants to come up here and then you can take this thing down, Black David. I'm done with it. Um, so if anybody wants to come up and see what their thoughts are on being a partner in a marriage or a relationship or being a husband, which one would you prefer? If you're a man, do you want your wife to think you are a partner? Or do you want her to think you are a husband, or vice versa? You know. So, so I have a couple of questions. Right? Listen. So how do folks looking for a committed relationship, not some of this horse shit that's going on now that they call relationships, but I'm saying committed. How do you bridge the gap between just fooling around with somebody for months, years, without no paperwork, just on your word, and being married, which nobody seems to want to do, right? Maybe for different reasons, right? It seems that most people, young people, don't want to get married because they're too young, right? And so, but after all the damage of their 20s and being free and all that kind of shit is done, maybe have children out of wedlock and all that, or now they're in their mid 30s and they want to get married, but they're pretty much unmarriageable at that point. So how do you bridge that gap to do something that's meaningful that you could rest your head on and actually, build something? Because I don't believe these secular relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend shit builds anything. It just builds more trauma because people end up breaking up all the time. Now you can point to some lifelong friends that have been together forever, but that's those few and far in between. Most people in just non-committed relationships only last for a few years, few months. And if they last for a whole bunch of years, but they never go past go, what are they really building? And if they're building anything, then they need paperwork. Because especially if they're sharing assets, having children, and if you don't have any paperwork, then you're a fool. You're being irresponsible, you know? And if you're married, but you don't want to be there, you don't want to just be married in name only. You want to really become one with the person you're married to. And that obviously is too much for the modern person. Well, at least that's what it seems like. So, what do you do in between? What do you do? So I don't have the answers. That's why I'm asking you guys. Somebody pop up and tell me, hey, Black David, you could take this thing down in the middle. You could take the article down. So that's some question. Anybody got some answers? Anybody got some questions? So this is, hey, what's going on? Take heed. How you doing? So I see you out there, Scorch Earth. You got an opinion. You always got opinions. What's your opinion, brother? Oh man, you know what? I just this is funny. I just looked at my mute thing, and I'm glad I'm not on mute. I think somebody would have told me by now. But I said, holy shit, I hope I didn't just say this to everybody and nobody heard me. Oh my God, that's crazy. Anyway, so nobody wants to tackle this one. Don't just leave me up here by myself. Hit the link. There's a link somewhere. Black David, put the link in the chat. Wait a minute, maybe I can get to the link. No, I can't. Yeah, I can. Anybody there want to come up? I can't hear you. If you do, nope. No super chats. Nothing. All right. So again, so my idea, a few weeks back, right? I did maybe more than a few weeks back, maybe a month or so back. I did this Monday session about a partnership agreement between men and women. And I had a list of things that needed to be done if we wanted to have a committed relationship, but didn't want to be married. You know what I'm saying? And that was, I don't know if that went over that well, but I thought it was something that's the in between I think we're looking for. you know, because I don't, I want to be an advocate for marriage, but it seems like, it's something that the Gen Z has got to figure out on their own. The birth rates are going down, believe it or not, and, people just don't seem to want to get along. I see. Even black men have always been the least married. Is that true, Lady D? I don't. I'm not so sure that that's true. Anyway, Easy Money Jones, you get up here, man. What about getting up here? Oh yeah, yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all the ladies out there. That's for sure. Happy belated Mother's Day to everybody out there. So wait a minute. Let me do this. You guys bear with me for a second. Uh-huh. I want to take care of something because I'm not so sure. There you go. Can I do this? All right. Anybody wants to come up? I think I am gonna I'll put the link in there. How about the link is in the chat? Anybody wants to come up, hit the link. Yeah. This should get you up here. So Black Dave, you still around, man? You can take this thing down from the middle. Easy Money, you see the link? Hit the link. Scorch Earth, hit the link, man. Come talk to me, man. Somebody come up. One of the ladies, come on up. Tell me what you think about calling men a partners. You know what I'm saying? And that's one. Hey, well, nobody really wants to come up. Anyway, so that was my whole thing. It wasn't long. I wanted to have some conversation on this because I really think that, there's a dilemma out there, and I don't know if it's easily fixed, but I think we could redefine relationships. And marriage is an easy one, right? Because it's a nice big bundle. Not easy one, but marriage will give you the complete package, and everything else is a light in between there, right? So what do you guys think? Okay, I see Antoine. Okay, anybody wants to come up? Come on up. I thought I put the link in the chat. Maybe somebody took it down. I did put it in the chat. Hey, Black David, can you put the link in the chat? Because I just did put it in there. So I think somebody might have taken it down. So, and I don't know, maybe a mod, somebody might have taken it down. But it's in the chat. I put it. I still see it. It's right under one of your posts. Where's the link? It's right after that post under my name, Scorch Earth. I don't know if you can't see it. I'm not so sure. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. No link. No link. Yeah. I put the link in there, but maybe y'all can't see it because the link is under my name unless somebody turned me out or something, but I see it. Black David, where you at, man? Somebody put the link in the chat. BMU, somebody put the link down so people could come up. Yeah, I don't know. I try to put the link in there. There you go. The link's in the chat. There it is. All right. And we can get this banner down. That's cool. Anybody want to come up? There you go. Cool. Hey, Scorch Earth, what do you think, man? How you doing?
What's up, Moses?
What's happening, brother? What do you think?
Not much. Hey,
question. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? A lot of people calling their significant other partners as opposed to husbands and shit like that. Are you hearing that, or is it just me?
Well, that's all everybody's saying just about nowadays. I mean, honestly, as I put in the in the chat, people don't respect the institution of a godly marriage anymore. So that's why we get what we get. And I've always believed that. You know, when you go away from the standards of what God, marriage is a God ordained thing, whether you believe in them or not. That's where it started
Mhm.
from. That's where it's going to end at the end of the day. Whether it be your marriage, whether it starts with you, your relationship with Christ is akin to what your relationship with your spouse is. That's how it's relevant.
Yeah.
If you are a believer and a follower of Jesus Christ, that's how he looks at his as a body. He looks as a body as his bride. So
Right.
that's why so it always was created from the beginning of time when it started with Adam and Eve. And it's funny to me because a lot of people like to go in and they like to pick and choose certain things in the word to make it correlate to what makes them feel comfortable or to what it is that they like. That's why you hear people walking around saying partnership, because partnership is a little bit more easy to swallow and comprehend than it is a husband or a wife. That's why you hear the word contract. They say marriage is a contract. No, marriage is a covenant.
Right.
See, a contract you can break. You can tear up a
Absolutely.
contract and create a new one. That's why you got these knuckleheads walking up in there creating their own vows, because nobody wants to be up under subjection, up under of the original vows of what that said covenant brings.
All right. Nah, you're good. Yeah, I agree with you. I really do, man. Hey, let me tell you before you go, right? How was your boy doing with the Bible verses? When I was reading the Bible verses, I was like going through. I mean, you know me, man. I'm quoting scripture, man. I was in there quoting. Man, I'm trying to take a bow, man. So I got to get some kudos for that.
Oh no, I mean, no, I'm not, but see, the thing is, we want to take what God has created and
Yeah.
we want to make it to what it is that fits our needs, and then turn around and say, but God's, and then, well, he was talking about that time. No, nothing about his God's word has changed. It's just, no
No,
matter, me and you can die tomorrow, his word will still be here.
it's still the same. Yep.
See,
Yeah. I
so,
mean,
and the
I
thing,
was half joking when I asked you that question because I was reading about. You know, I actually wrote the one for Mark. I actually wrote it in red because when you see in the New Testament when it's red, that's actually Jesus speaking.
yeah.
Yeah, you know. So,
But see, here you go. The problem is, you'll get a lot of people in the chat. They want it like Easy Money Jones. He
uh,
said, "Help me." Is either a male or it can be either or. That's
that's
not
not,
what the scripture
that's
says.
not what it says, man. It's not what it
Genesis 2:18 said, "I will make
says.
him and help me suitable for him."
Yeah,
So, I mean, in all actuality, this is a problem when we derive from what it is that what that word says. And I asked the question in the chat: do you guys actually even believe in God or his commandments?
yeah, yeah.
Because it's mighty funny when it comes to the things that we do not want to do. We find it real easy to change up what it says.
That's true.
And Black
Yeah,
David looked like he about to fall asleep
yeah, I
again.
know. Black David, go
No,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Black
I ain't
David.
gotta
What
fall
you got,
asleep.
bro? What you got,
No,
bro?
with
Don't
them
fall
doing
asleep, man.
with them doing this phase. Let me tell you why I'm doing this phase. With them doing
Hey,
this
hey,
phase,
Black.
I have been in this type of discussion and argument about this title for far too long. It just gets so tiring and so freaking annoying where I have to be blunt. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have a problem with black churches. Black churches are too damn lazy to teach the truth, concerning what marriage really
Amen
is.
to that.
One. Number two, today black church like to pander and kiss ass to women.
No doubt.
Don't ask me why I'm saying that. I used to work for a church. When I'm a part of a church, I don't be expected. I be a partaker of the gospel. I put myself in it to learn it more than what it is. For what I've seen so far, either being a usher, being a sound technician, doing all the other role I play in the church, I know one thing that sticked out. When we come to the scripture, when we come to what women are supposed to do according to the scripture, the first thing they're gonna do, what about men? What about them? Why can't he do what the scriptures say? Do what you're supposed to do. Focus on what you're responsible for and leave everything the rest to him. No, but what about? I have gotten so tired of the argument. I have seen it in church when I was a kid. I have seen it in church when I was a teenager. I've seen it in church when I was a young adult. I just call it as I see it. Too many women are not willing to hold themselves responsible according to what the scriptures say. They want to use the scripture to hold men accountable and responsible. But yet, let's go here. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 to 33. Concerning marriage, with addressing the women first, not men. First Peter chapter 3, verse 1 to 7. With addressing the women first, not men. But when you point that one out, yeah, but I'm sorry. The Bible is not in defense of no person, no nation. Either you obey it or you don't. It is what it
True.
is.
So let me just say, hey, Easy Money Jones, get up here, man. Hey, listen,
No,
first of all,
you
help
need to
me
change
to.
it. No, he need to change the name from Edie Money Jones to Edie
No,
Pimp
no, you know
Jones.
what? He likes to troll, man. That's what he likes to do.
That
Listen,
what
first of
Pimp
all,
do.
help me.
That what
This 2 words. It's
that
two
what
words,
Pimp
not
doing.
one.
I'm changing his name from Easy Money Jones to Easy Pimp Jones. How about that?
Anyway,
I'm just being honest because I've seen these arguments. I've seen the nonsense whereby when it comes to marriage counseling, wife don't want to hear what they're supposed to do. Don't argue with the pastor. Remember that clip that BMU shared a couple of months back during the wedding vow, and
yeah,
they,
yeah.
they mentioned to love and to put and obey, and one was like and to submit. Like we talked about this.
Well. Listen.
Uh,
But stick on that one, right? The whole point is the pastor should have never let them get married in his church in the first place. Because she couldn't
uh,
say that she could wait a minute. She couldn't even say the vows during counseling. So that's the two men that were up there failed. One, the groom should have said, wait a minute, I'm making a mistake. This woman can't even pledge herself to me. That's one. And two, the pastor should have never allowed them to have a marriage in his church in the first place because he knew she wasn't she wasn't ready. So I mean, that's what I'm
but,
saying. He was
but
going along to get along.
I hate to say the Asian pain, since you're Asian being here longer than us. These ladies do not care. You hear what I just said? Black church don't like to teach the truth. You know why?
Let's
When you
wait one
think about
second
it.
though.
When you
Gino
put when,
Jennings would have never let her get away with that.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Gino,
yeah. So,
hold on,
so
hold on,
let's,
hold on. This is Gino Jennings. Pastor, you didn't talk about that. I know. I told you during the counseling. This is your responsibility, sir. Are you gonna allow that to pass by, or you gonna stay there? I'm sorry, Pastor Gino Jane will not even let that happen.
no.
He will criticize her in front of everybody.
That marriage would have not taken place. So listen,
But that's what no, this what I had to pet
I
peeve
think
because this
Scorch Earth
topic,
fell off.
no, this thing have been annoying me for years, and I got sick and tired of it. You will find women in the church. Uh-oh. You know what? I'm gonna change this name on purpose tonight. You know when we easy pimp.
Right, okay, Easy Money Jones. Let me ask you, man. So do you see any significance to the difference between your wife calling you her partner or her husband?
See, now you conflating Payne. See, that's the problem with you. That's the
No,
problem with you
I'm
boomers,
asking you a
man.
question. I'm not.
No,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no. My wife will not. So you got to understand something. So when we start talking about partner and partnership,
Okay.
what we are specifically referring to is the day in, day out carrying out of how things get done. And so some days I take the kids to school. Some days you might take the
No,
kids to school.
hold on now.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah,
I agree with what you just said. But
yeah.
that when women use the word partner, they think a completely different thing than what you just said.
How do you know that?
Because I do. Because
What do you mean?
women,
Because you do.
don't speak the same
Have you
language.
talked to a woman?
Because listen. If you really pay attention to what women say, you could take them more literally than what you just said. Because yeah, in a marriage, there's certain things that are partners, your partner, but it's not the pinnacle. It's not what you're married for. It's the
No,
covenant that's
you're
made.
100% correct. Yeah,
Okay,
they're
so
not.
when women say partner, let me just say, when a women
Yeah,
say partner, they're
yeah.
saying you do these things and I'm staying. But once you fall short, then you know what? Shit's up in the air.
That's not a partnership, though. That's a
Yes,
dictatorship.
yes. No, no, no,
No,
no.
that's
It's
not.
an
That's
agreement.
literally
No, you
that's
got
no,
if
no,
it's a
no,
it's a transactional agreement. You got 10
no.
planks, I got 10 planks. If you fall down on 6 of them, or 5 of them, or 1 of them, you know what, honey? Our partnership is dissolved. I'm out of here. I'm not
That's an
happy no
abusive
more.
situation. Well, no. You conflating. You and your boomers and y'all conflation.
You still haven't answered my. I mean, you know what? I take that back because I don't want to make
I
it.
did answer your question.
No, I don't want to make it between you and your. But you know what I mean. If your wife introduced you to anybody as her partner, you would take some umbrage with that.
But the thing is, why would she do that? Like that's not how we speak about each
If
other in
any
terms of
okay,
our
so
marriage.
any man who understands the covenant of marriage, right?
Hmm.
They would like their wives to introduce them. Not you. Any man would say, "Listen, you know what, honey? I ain't your partner. I'm your husband."
Uh-huh.
That would be an instant correction.
Yes.
At least I would do that.
Yeah, we're not disagreeing on that. I'm your husband, you're my
So
wife.
that's the
Like
purpose of this whole thing. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get to the point where can we agree on a couple other things? That regular relationships that people say that they're in are pretty much bullshit. Well, hold on, Black David, right? I mean, we people say I'm in a relationship here and they're cheating on each other. That there is a verbal commitment at best. And those shits fall apart, whether it's a month or 2 years or 5 years, whatever. And people are left with all kinds of trauma based on a failed relationship. And then nobody really wants to get married anymore, or very few people want to get married because they don't want the commitment. And not the commitment of marriage, but the commitment to the vows, to what you're supposed to say and what you're supposed to adhere to. People don't want to do that. If guys, guys will be more, a guy, if he's going to cheat, he's going to cheat whether he's married or not. But when women get married, I shouldn't even say it that way. Men and women don't want to follow the vow. They don't want to really be committed like that anymore. So what's in between, Easy Money?
so let's back up because you said a lot. So this whole thing with partnership, what they're specifically referring to is how we're going to accomplish things. I just want to clarify that's what I mean. So it doesn't change that you're husband and wife. It doesn't change or interfere with your marriage covenant. It just means, hey, let's work together to get some stuff done for our relationship and for our household. Period.com. Number two, you talked about the drop in marriage rates, and
Right.
people don't want to live up to the vows. I will walk with you to the point of the commitment issue, but it's not solely because of the vows. It's largely because more and more people are waking up to the foibles of patriarchy and how it
Oh God.
impacts our relationships. And patriarchy and capitalism
Oh,
work
no.
in concert. They work in concert to give us certain beliefs and values that we take into relationships, and we ruin relationships with those things.
What fucking patriarchy? What are you talking about?
We live in a
Patriarchy.
patriarchy, sir.
No. I know what we're living in a patriarchy that propels the gynocracy. That's
No,
why women
there's
have.
no such
That's
thing
why.
as a
That's why women.
gynocracy.
That's why women have all the rights in the world. So our patriarchy is not the son of patriarchy you're talking about, because men don't dominate a goddamn thing. Matter of fact,
How many billionaires? How
do
many
you
billionaires are women?
Correction.
say
Women
what?
dominate correction. Women dominate the bedroom. That is it.
No. I'm trying to say is that if like, you guys are y'all living in the modern time? Women are
I'm in
probably held together.
2024. Yeah.
The women in the West are the freest women in the whole world. What patriarchy? What patriarchy? What real patriarchy? The laws that are being passed are in their favor, right? They're taking jobs that used to be for men, right? They talk about equality, but none
The
of them want to
laws,
be ditch.
the
Wait a minute,
laws
wait
are
a
in
minute.
their favor.
None of them want to be ditch diggers. They want to go from the bedroom to the boardroom. They don't want the menials. They're not on the skyscraper. They ain't working in the sewers. They ain't making your electricity go. They ain't doing no shit on the infrastructure. What
I
are
ain't
you
trying to do
talking
that
about?
shit either. So what are we talking about?
So what I'm saying is, let's stick on a point. This patriarchy shit is bullshit. Because if we're a real patriarchy, we wouldn't have all these black female mayors and all these governors, women running for presidency. There's no goddamn patriarchy in that sense. Economically, yes.
Okay,
Economically, yes.
Artane,
Power,
Artane,
yes. Yeah,
Artane.
but
Do
the way
you
we
hear
live,
yourself right now? Do you hear
no.
yourself?
What
You
patriarchy?
you're
They have a
doing
list. They have a list of men who, the Department of Homeland Security has a list of YouTuber men they have on a shit list as if these guys are hate groups because
and
they
they should
advocate for
because they are. Yes.
no.
Man,
No.
that podcast to mass shooter pipeline is real, man. No, man. No, man.
Okay, so
No,
let's get
no.
back to
Some
the
of these
point.
people are suspect.
So let's get back to the point. What's in between a relationship and a marriage that can get people committed to do something useful together? And your partnership discussion is kind of horseshit too. Let me tell you why. Because when people are working together, it's not just to do the mundane things in a marriage; it's to actually fulfill a covenant. That's what you should be doing when you're working together. That's the whole purpose of your marriage. So when the kids are there, when they're gone, your covenants become one with your wife, and that's the partnership shit that you're supposed to be working for. Everything else will take care of itself.
That's not true, though.
Mhm.
You can't say everything takes care of itself. Relationships take work,
Well,
and this is
they take desire and
it
obligation.
takes
Even when
work.
work is different, it's yeah, okay. When you sweating it out, man, is
Sometimes
it taking your life away? Nah, there's a couple of conversations here and there, man. If you're both
it,
committed, it's not really drudgery work. It's not like you're on the road to like Mad Max and shit.
that's
So
not
what
what
kind
I
of work you
said.
talking about? Diamond mining diamonds? What are you doing?
It takes work to
Okay,
maintain a
wait.
relationship.
I
It
agree with
takes
that.
it takes personal work,
I
going to
agree with you,
therapy.
but there's levels to what kind of work you're talking about. It's lovely work.
It's not
It's
lovely work. It's ugly
oh,
work, man.
oh yeah, you're shaking your head. Okay, Scorcher, if you got something, wait, Black David, you got something else? Or one of you guys, he getting ready to go out.
Now, as I'm sharing the screen, right?
Okay, what you shot? What you got here?
This is what I noticed in a lot of church. I hear women come out of their mouth saying, if they could have changed the Bible, right? They would take that word out to show right here in Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 22. You would have said, marriage, Christ and the church. Who are they addressing first? Verse 22, wives, submit to your what? Own husband. Now that saying dumbass woman, when the pastor told you to submit and obey your husband, and she was like, uh, we didn't discuss about that, but you got a Bible, right? Don't you read the Bible? Huh? Yeah, but you go to church, right? So all the time you be reading the Bible, you sort of you just phase over it and act like that doesn't exist. Like, come on, let's be
Scroll up,
real.
Black David.
It says
Scroll up.
Christ.
No, up.
What?
Actually, no, down. My bad, down the other way. Yeah, keep
You don't
scrolling.
know up from down, Pimp?
Keep scrolling.
Oh,
Just
okay.
scroll down.
You looking for
Scroll
Artane, the
down.
someone?
old man, what's good,
Husband?
sir?
Looking
Black
for a
David?
husband? Love your wife? Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Scorch, how's your recovery going?
Oh man, it's all good, man. That it was an experience, so that's for dang show.
Yeah, I can relate. Trust me, I can relate. I had mine done Thursday. I got my follow-up coming up this coming Wednesday and everything else. So when I found out what was wrong, I was like, yo, I'm getting this done now. I'm not putting this off. I'm not gonna wait or anything else. The sooner, the better. And I got it done. So I just wanted to let you know that.
So
Nah, them
you
son
said,
of a gun shot me up like 3 or 4 times in the dang arm trying to find a damn vein. They ain't gonna have the
Damn.
nerves to say, They're gonna have the nerves to say, "Oh, it's because you have no water in your system." Well, you
What?
told me to stop drinking fluid 3 hours before the operation was gonna get done, dummy.
They had no problem finding the vein for me. The nurses found the vein, no problem, and everything else. The only thing that was embarrassing was the fact that when I got into the OR, it was all women. Hold on, Avery, you gotta put that down, please. Avery, turn that down, please. Thank you. The embarrassing part was all the one assistant doctor and all the nurses in there were women. And so they're like, okay, you got to get onto the stretch. All right, now you got to get onto the table. No problem. But they had to make me go with my ass out. So all
Oh
these
hell
women had
no.
to see my ass. Apologies.
God damn.
But I had to lay on the table like that with everything out in front of all these women. It's just like, yo, this is
Oh. Oh
Oh no,
no.
that's they at
They
least
had your
gave me a little.
oh, they had your
They had a
ass
little bit of
on
empathy for me.
HDTV.
not.
So they had your
but
ass out on high definition already? God damn. What
but
channel were they watching?
man, listen, put it like Black David, put it like this. There was an issue. I didn't feel comfortable with it. I called my doctor. I went, got checked out. He thought it was something else. He told me to go see a gastroenterologist. He looked at it. He told me what it was. And he was like, you can put this off, but I recommend you get this done now. And I was like, yeah, let's get this done now because I feel like this. My father is 83. And when he went and got checked out, they found early traces of prostate cancer. So when they caught it and they caught it early, he didn't need chemo radiation. He had some surgery, they removed it, and he's been good ever since. So if my father can go through that with no embarrassment and not feel like it's a wound to his pride, what's my excuse? And I'm 47.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You're bent over, your cheek is out on HD, and all women are looking at your ass. Your dad did not say that he went through all that. No, let me repeat it, ladies and gentlemen. This
Hey, how you
grandfather
know he
didn't go
wasn't
through what
playing?
you
They
went
weren't
through.
playing with you while you was out. That's the
He
thing
was
that
bent
concerned me.
over,
That's
ass
the
out
worst
on
part. I'm trying not
HD.
to think about that because, listen, they were all women. I had
All
one
right,
male
hey
who was a
gentlemen,
doctor. They would
hey
do the surgery.
gentlemen,
Other than that, the
hold on
rest
for a
women.
second.
So I ain't saying, I'm trying not to
Antoine,
think about that, okay? I'm
Antoine,
trying not to think about it.
Antoine,
But the fact is,
Antoine, Antoine, can you hear
what's
me?
up?
I got a question for you. Let's get back on track here for a
Okay.
second.
I
I'm glad
apologize.
you're doing better, brother. But let me
Thank you.
ask you, what do you have on the subject, man?
I put it like this: marriage is a sacrament and a legal institution. It's two people working together to make each other better in so many ways. The problem is, I don't like the reason why, like Scorch said, it's a partnership. Back then, before members of the pride community couldn't get the legal recognition, they
Yeah,
needed paperwork. It was called a civil union. It was called a
right,
domestic partnership. And the person they chose to live with and to grow old with was called their partner. All
right,
they wanted was the legal acknowledgement and recognition. That's it. Once gay marriage was officially legal in the United States, now they got what a lot of hetero couples had. They can call that individual that they're with their spouse. Whether they
right.
call them their husband or their wife, they can say, "This is my spouse, not my partner." And they took pride in that. The thing that kills me with some couples, with this domestic partnership, these hetero couples who just live together, I got nothing wrong with that. Y'all want to do that? Y'all want to live together, so on and so forth. That's cool. But here's the thing: you can put in that work and you can do that and everything else. That doesn't mean you're going to get the legal connection that comes to marriage. You're not. To me, I feel like if you want the privileges and benefits that come with marriage, whatever your belief system is, you go in front of that priest, that minister, that rabbi, that cleric, that imam, whatever your religious belief system is, or you go in front of that judge or justice of the peace. Whatever you choose to do, you have to stand in front of someone with the person you want to be with saying, "I do," reciting your vows and letting them know from now to the end of time, we are going to be together, making each other better. And the problem is people don't want to handle that weight. And guess what? I take pride in that. My wife and I have been together for 19 years. Been married for 14. This August will make 15 years. And yes, we had our good points and we had our bad points. But guess what? We have more good days than bad days. And I take pride in that in so many ways. Because my parents have been married for 54 years. All right. That was my example of what it means to work together to get married, to be married, and to stay married. I have aunts and uncles who have been married for over 35 or 40 years. I have one aunt and uncle who've been married for 50 years. I got cousins that have been married for 25 years. It's hard. You're going to have your moments. You're going to have your challenges. It's going to be difficult. And guess what? That's okay. As long as you're willing to put the time in, as long as you're willing to put the work in to make each other better. It's not about 50-50. I put it like this. I'm giving 100%. My wife is giving 100%. Or take something what I learned from the Army. Always give 110, never less than 100.
Yeah, let me ask you a question on this, though.
Hey,
What's
turn it
the
up, please.
what do we do to get back? Listen, we know that marriage is on a decline, and
Right.
when people come a certain, especially at a certain age, they talking about they got a boyfriend and a girlfriend and shit like that. I don't take no heed in any of those so-called relationships, especially the way they characterize today. They're all really situational ships, right? I mean, if you're just thinking people who are just shacking up, they like each other, but they ain't making nothing but verbal commitments to each other, no paperwork, no nothing. I think those things always end in disaster for the most part, even after
No,
years, right?
that's true. That's true.
And
I
so,
remember.
in marriage, people are afraid of marriage because of the commitment, because of that. So what's in between? Is it going back to common law? Because you need, listen, if I had a committed girlfriend, right, a committed lady, we're committed to each other, but we don't want to get married, we got to be more than boyfriend and girlfriend, especially if we have children, right? We share assets,
Exactly.
we got to have paperwork,
Exactly.
right?
And
So
people
we're
don't.
going backwards, right, to the common law marriage thing again.
It is. We are, because here's the thing, and I think you said it before on one show. Somebody else said it on, I don't think it was this panel or another panel. A
Yeah,
marriage license carries more weight than all the other paperwork you have to fill out if you're not married.
right,
That's the thing people don't realize. You guys
right.
spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on filing fees, seeing a lawyer, and everything else to do all that stuff. And that's cool. You want to do all that? Go right on ahead. But guess what? You're paying anywhere between $50 to maybe $75 or $100 at the most for a marriage license. And that has more weight than all that other paperwork does. And you only pay it one time, and one time only. That's it. And the reason why I tell people you should get married, and I remember posting this, I think in Freezy's show.
Okay.
Marriage is protection for your spouse to where he or she has to make the toughest decisions,
Right.
and they had no interference from anyone and everyone of any kind whatsoever. That's what marriage does. So if something happens to me, my wife makes the call. She doesn't have to worry about fighting my parents or my brother or my sister to make those decisions. If something happens to my wife, I make that call. I don't have to fight my father-in-law, and I don't have to fight my sister-in-law on that. That's the thing people forget when it comes to marriage. It's about not only something for yourself, but you giving your spouse that protection they need in every way, shape, or form. And that's the thing people don't take into consideration. Perfect example, and this was a case that happened about maybe 20 years back, and y'all probably remember this. Terry Schiavo, young woman from Florida, fell into a coma. Her husband became a nurse, looked into her condition, studied everything, found out she was never going to recover. But her parents were throwing every type of monkey wrench possible, saying to keep her alive, to keep her alive, to keep her alive. He said, this was something we talked about before this happened. And she told me she did not want to be kept alive on a ventilator. Now, here's the thing. If Terry and Michael Schiavo are married, why are her parents throwing a monkey wrench in what he should do for their daughter? And that's the thing people forget. Why? Husband trumps parents. Wife trumps parents. Husband trumps siblings. Wife trumps siblings. That's the thing people forget. And I didn't like the fact that they made so much more out of it. Because, like I said, he was in a Kobayashi Maru, a no-win situation. If he legally divorced her and let her parents deal with the day-to-day of her care, people would have been dogging him for that. How dare you do something like that, bro? You're married. You're supposed to be there till death do us part. Because he was making a decision. People were like, how can you do something like that? Don't you have any type of heart whatsoever? Don't you love your wife? He wanted to give her dignity, and that was taken away from him.
Yeah, but they
And
they
that's the
dragged, they
thing.
dragged that thing on for years, didn't they? They drug that on
It
for years.
dragged out for I think about maybe like a little over a year
It
or
went
two.
all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, to the
From my
point where,
understanding, it went up. Yeah.
and they made the decision. They're married. He has the final say. Case closed. And I don't like the fact that it got dragged out. This was something that was personal. That should have been held behind closed doors. Now, I understand where her parents are coming from. That's their daughter. That's their child. But once she gets married, she is his wife. He makes that decision. And people should have respected that and left it alone. And I think this is why I
You
tell
know what's
people,
funny about what?
Good.
say again?
Good.
Oh,
You know what's funny about what you said though about the parents?
What's that?
And this is a funny thing. When we talk about marriage, what's the first thing that comes out of the mouths of the wives that sit up there and don't want to go by the legal, the biblical laws of what the scripture says? You trying to own me? I ain't, no, but see, here go the thing. You said it right there. It's the father that walked that daughter down the aisle to hand off to that husband, correct?
Correct.
But
Right.
when they felt the need to jump in and get themselves involved, what did they become and took away from him? Didn't they try to become ownership over something that would belong to him at that moment?
I believe so.
But hold on, Coach Urge. What did the scripture says? This is the same parent that went to church and claimed they know the Bible, but you overlook this part that said, "Wives, submit to your own husband." It said, "Submit to your
Husbands.
own parents." It didn't say, "Submit to your own
But
siblings."
see, but Black David, this is the problem that we have in society, especially in what it is that we're talking about in 2024. This is why our marriages are not going to where it's supposed to be. You have more people talking about either getting married, getting divorced, being separated, or anything else. I asked you, how many preachers have you got behind any type of pulpit or anybody on any one of these panels where they start talking about marriage staying together, fighting through the problems? You barely, and when you do hear it, you hear more about one side of the individual who done all the wrong, and the other one was forgiving. You never hear about it to where they turn around and they take it biblically based and say, this is what we did, this is what we struggled, but through our belief and our faith system in God, we saw that God was using us to help equip other people who may go through this or whatever for what it is that they're seeing us went through, that we went through. But you got all these people walking around here talking about, oh, well, it's a partnership, it's equal, 50-50 and all that. There's nowhere in the Bible that says that. And half these people walking around here calling themselves Christians.
And that's the thing, Scorched. People say it's 50-50. It's basic math. 50-50 equals 100. One thing's getting done for two people. Both of them are not going to be satisfied. That's why I tell people it's 100% on both sides. Guess what it is? That's 200%. Two things are getting done at once.
But
now, granted,
hold on. Here's the joke. I've been reading the scripture since the age of 9. For multiple years, I went to many pastors to get some clarity about what it's saying over here in this particular scripture. But what I noticed about a lot of black churches, when it comes to this, there's so much glancing over, there's so much ignoring this part, there's so much, but I think it should be, no, enough is enough. Either you stand by it or you don't. Keep it simple. Because you have a nation of simp right now. Keyword. A nation of simp.
Well, it's not according to Easy Money. Well, Easy Money says we're a patriarchy. And
guys, y'all. All right, real quick, because I gotta leave here in a minute. Y'all tripping. Black David, you just said 20 minutes ago you need to focus on what your role is. And the fact that it's 5 dudes on this panel and we're looking at what wives should be doing is actually the real reason why marriages are failing. We need to focus on what we are required to do as men and husbands, and not what wives are to be doing.
Oh,
On
I didn't
top
know
of
my
that,
role.
Well,
no, we don't. No, we don't.
That's the point
No,
right
we
there.
don't.
I am the
hold on,
protector
hold
and the
on,
No, we
provider.
don't.
Or better yet, I put a
That's not what that word
Hey,
says.
easy
Hold on,
money.
guys. What
Hey,
Mike?
easy
What
money.
Mike?
what did
Easy
Mike
money.
say?
When
What
you
did Mike
hold up, Black
say?
Daddy.
What?
No, Black Daddy. Hold on. Easy money. When you
Yeah.
start putting your wife on here to speak to the goddamn congregation of women that's sitting up here watching, then you could say something like that. But until then, when you sitting up there, you yourself always caping for what it is that we as men not doing, when we already are held responsible to a higher degree, and we understand that, then you come talk to us.
We
Don't
don't
sit up here and
understand
come
that,
sit up here.
Scorch.
I put it like this.
Hold on.
Put it like this.
Hold on for a second.
Hold on. Scorch. I want to
Wait. Everybody just wait. Listen, first of all, easy money. Once in a while, I don't disagree with what he just said, by the way. I mean, wait, hold on. I mean, from the context of what we're talking about, you know,
We're not talking about the mere responsibility.
No, I don't have a problem with him saying we're 5 men up here talking about the honeys. I'm just saying that, you know, in the context of what we're talking about, we don't need to talk about them to still get our point across, to tell you the truth. Right. All I'm just trying to say is the whole purpose of this whole video that we're doing today, this live, is to say that women view a partnership in a marriage different than men would. Right, because they're looking at it from a business perspective, and they're saying if you fall down just a little bit, they're gone, they're out of here. I think men's obligations are a lot more different than that. I don't hear no women coming. When was the last time we heard a woman anywhere talk about her obligations to marriage? I must stick it out no matter what. They don't say that shit. They really don't. We say it all the time. So from that standpoint, you know, looking at this thing about trying to get women to submit and all that shit, you know, I mean, we know what the motherfucking woman ain't. We got to say, we don't want to meet them where they're at, but we need to bring them up to say, listen, if you keep that definition of what you want in a marriage, you're just never going to get married. Because
but that's the point. Most of them don't want to get married.
Yeah, but that's fine then.
The benefits of a marriage.
Yeah, but
that's the
don't
point.
give them what they want then. But you don't give them what they want. If they want benefits of marriage, but they're not going to submit and give you what you need out of a marriage.
I put it like this. I put it like this. I've told this to my nieces. One of my nieces right here, she's 21. I said, know your worth. I said, don't be so quick to just be with a guy, just to be with a guy. If he wants to find that finish line, work with him. Work with him, and y'all cross that finish line together. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Everybody wants either this or that. And I've always said this, and I said it on this panel, our panel, you've heard, old man, you've heard me say this, Scorched Earth, you heard me say this, Black David, you heard me say this, and I've said this on Freezy's panel too. I've said this on a lot of other panels. The most valuable thing a man could ever give a woman is his name. Because
sad thing about it is most of them don't believe, they don't value that name, even though they attach themselves to it.
No, because here's my thing. When a man gives a woman his name, that lets her know where she stands in his life.
Anton, let me add on that. Yes, I don't mind using the name to make money, cash on it, make $1 million once you tie the name is no good no more. You drop the name and pick another name, like somebody who did that. Oh, she killed ex-wife.
Oh my God.
Wait. The most valuable thing a man can give a woman is his name.
I ain't gonna touch that with Shaq because I went to school with some of his cousins up here in Jersey. That's why I'm friends with some of his family up here in Jersey. Much respect to Shaq. I know I've met him a couple times. A real cool dude. I ain't touching that one, but I heard about that. I know what you're saying.
The most valuable thing that a man can give to a woman that he marries is his life.
Evil way, because I hate when people want to use the Bible for the.
You got a point.
And I'm going to use it against. I thought,
yeah,
you want to use somebody's last name to make money off it, right? And when you're done with the name, you throw out the old rag.
Go ahead, easy money. Go ahead.
Well, not even that. Not even that though. So wait. So 80% of black children, or I'm sorry, 70% of black children are born out of wedlock, right? So if that's the case, the man is giving a woman his mother's name?
No, I have my father's name. I'm named after my father. I have my father's name. I'm Junior. I have his name. I have his name. My brother has his name. My sister has his name.
Well,
And I get what you're
That's
saying.
cool.
And I get what you're saying,
for a second.
Easy. I get
Easy
what
money.
you're
Here's
saying.
the point, though. Let me just say this. Easy point. Even though there's a lot of illegitimate kids, or let's just say kids born out of wedlock, I don't know the percentage of them that's really illegitimate from the standpoint that the father doesn't claim them with a last name. It's different. I don't
If
know.
70% are born outside of wedlock, it's got to be at least half.
Well, why?
Right?
You just coming up with a number. I don't know. Do we know? Maybe it's high. Maybe it's high. I don't know.
It's probably high. It's probably not. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
each state, Commonwealth, the territory, the union has it differently. Here in New Jersey, if the couple is not married, the child automatically is going to have the mother's name. End of story. If the couple is married in the NICU, at the hospital, the child will carry the mother's last name. But once that child leaves the hospital, that child has their father's last name. And I
But
made
he
and my
has to
wife.
legitimize them, though. He has to do something to legitimize.
Oh,
the
I
kid.
already
Like,
did
not
that. I put my name. Oh, I put like this right now. I pull up my children's birth certificates. You will see my name on it with my wife's name. When I pull up the adoption papers for our eldest child, you're gonna see my name on that as well as my wife's.
Okay.
And I remember one time when my wife and I first became parents with our daughter Avery. She's now 9. She's the one that's doing all the nonsense behind me, putting her hands on top of my head and stuff. When
That's a kid for you.
yeah, love and affection, my grandmother reincarnated.
And she's still doing. She's like, and I'm your daughter, and she's gonna talk about it. And
So what happened was my wife told me this when one of the nurses, yeah, they can hear you. When the nurses came to see her with the paperwork, they were trying to get her to sign the paperwork without my name on it. She was like, no, I have to wait for my husband. Like, I'm waiting for my husband to sign this. And then once I got there and they brought the paperwork, she signed it, I signed it. Same thing when it came to Carter and Sinclair.
How you doing?
When their paperwork came by, she signed it, I signed it. And the story.
Wow.
And I think guys have to understand.
Go ahead.
Demand that. Fellas, give her the ring. Make it official. If you find a woman that wants to get married, you work with her. That is your dream maker.
I agree.
A dream maker is someone that's going to be there no matter what. When things are good, that person is there. When things are bad, that person is there. When they see something wrong, they're not afraid to tell you the truth. But either way you look at it, a dream maker is a person that's always going to help you go towards that finish line and help you accomplish your goal. And I always tell this to a lot of men and women. Find yourself a dream maker. Stop getting together with these dream fakers and these dream takers.
They could pull my hair.
So what? Find yourself a dream maker. Because that dream maker will make sure whatever dreams you have together will become a reality.
Go ahead, Black.
So if that's the case, right? Then we, as the OGs or the old heads, need to tell these young dudes to get married right away. Right now, Black men are the last to be married of all ethnic groups. And a big part of that is because we tie our masculinity to our sexual prowess. And we tell these young dudes, you can always get married later. You peak in your 50s and you'll just get an 18-year-old. So we cannot push that rhetoric on one side, that Kevin Samuel stuff. But then on this side, talk about, man, women, you need to find a dude to build with, because what we're telling the guys that are building is don't marry.
Hold on for a second. Listen. What you just said is the biggest gaslighting shit I heard in a long time. Okay? We have a whole universe of women telling women in their early 20s not to get married, go explore the world, get as much dick as you possibly can, and all of that kind of stuff. And when they're all
we tell the men that too, except for the dick. But yeah.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you, but
stop.
The point I'm making is that it's not just a man's thing, it's a universal mistake that we've been making. Both men and women.
Why are we as being talking about women? We need to focus on ourselves.
Well, how about we do this? Hold up.
Let me finish. What I'm saying is, we're saying that men
Sorry.
They have to get on that grind. It takes us longer. How many men? Somebody asked me, how many men really have it all together to carry a family in their 20s, right? And
Not
now,
many.
no, not many.
Small
And
number.
so the point of telling them to get at least a direction together before they get married. I know you didn't do it because you did it real young, but that's not most men. Maybe they're 26, maybe they're 27. They got a direction, and a lot of the younger women who are now living today, when they see another 21 or 22-year-old guy, he can't offer them anything, and that's why they want guys at the finish line. So they want older men.
There's no such thing as the finish line. Like, what is this? Where's this finish line? Is it 40? Is it 50?
The finish line where you can measure what a man has. How about that? When you
But in our capitalist society, you never can.
I put it like this: the finish line is getting married. I always tell people, I tell young people this:
go to school,
get your education, have a little fun. You will know when you're ready to settle down. If you know you're at a point where you're ready to settle down and start a family, go out there and find someone that's willing to do the same thing as well. You don't have to agree with everything, but if you see eye to eye on certain things, then you work together to get to that finish line to get married. And then once you make it official and become husband and wife, that takes it to a whole new level. And you still work together to make each other better from that point forward.
Go ahead, Scorch. What you got, man? What you got on them?
I agree, but I disagree. And this is where I disagree at. The finish line you don't even start the race until you become married. Everything you do before then is nothing more than you practicing to get to that point, if that's what you so desire to do. See, the problem is, and see, pointing to what Easy Money said, yeah, you do have a segment of people that do believe in that construct of go out there, sow your raw oats, live free in your 20s or whatnot until you get settled in, get your money together and this and that. Okay, yeah, you got that. But see, you asked where do we start at? We need to start holding up the standard from the beginning. Hey, why don't you keep your goddamn dick in your goddamn pants if you ain't married? How about you keep your goddamn panties up if you ain't married? Let's just really be frank about it. We need to take some of us got raised the old school way where they scared hell into us.
I know.
Go do that if you want to. You come up pregnant, we're moving you up to the other side of the United States where don't nobody know your black butt. Come on, let's be real about how we was treated.
No. I get what you're saying, Scorch, because for me, it was like, you get caught up in that type of nonsense, your ass going to Haiti for a little while, for about a year or so, and then once you have the child, then you're coming back to the States. Maybe with the child, maybe without the child. Who knows? It varies. My niece is right here. She's 21. I told her this when she was about 14, 15 years old. If you're going to get with a guy and he don't want to put a rubber on, give him a hand job, give him a blow job. You pull them panties back up, call it a day. I told my nephews the same thing. If a girl said it's okay, you don't need to put on a condom. Do your thing, get her off, pull your drawers off, and call it a day.
You nice. No, you nice. Let me tell you what I told my 18, my 14, and my 18, my 16, and my 14-year-old daughter. My two boys and my daughter. I said, do it if you want to. And the only place you're gonna have to go for relief is to your mama. You don't come to me with this mess. Because see, the thing is, you seen the mistakes that daddy made. You watched daddy and mommy get a divorce over something stupid. So if you don't want to have the life that daddy had, that you see him living right now, don't do what I did. You do better. Let me tell you what my mistakes were. Having sex with a woman that I truly didn't know, who truly didn't want me, but she knew that I was a good provider. She knew that she had my kids. She knew that I was willing to take care of them because they have an older brother that's 31 years old. And you know what that woman did? She moved that baby, my son, in her to another state without me saying having any power to change that.
Damn.
And created a whole new life. Got over $150,000 in child support in a 21-year span. You know what that same woman doing right now? She complaining, talking about she wished that she would have never done that because she's seeing the repercussions of her decisions. But you know what? Because of my foolishness of sticking my ding dong in a pole in contaminated soil, this is the results that I'm living in. So that's what you start. This is what you uphold the standard, and you start telling these people the truth. Let them know that nowadays they got diseases that eat through a damn rubber and still kill your butt.
I know. That's the thing. I didn't have any kids that
Have y'all looked at what's going on in goddamn
Shogun.
No,
Say
I
again?
mean, we know it's bad out there, man.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, see, so this is where we start at, Easy Money. We stop playing these games and we start letting people know, both men and women, hey, this is a real. This ain't no joke.
Yeah.
Let me say this.
So
Acting in their respective roles and doing what it is that they supposed to do, it will become better. But until then, all this pandering and everything else, talking about we help meet each other when that's not in the scripture, and you call yourself a believer, man, get the hell out of here with that, man. That's what I ain't playing with that no more.
Right. Well,
one thing I'm gonna stand up for is the word of God. You come to me, you come at saying anything other than what that word of God says, you're gonna have a problem with me.
Daddy.
I get what you're saying, trust me, because I never had that type of issue. So that's why I said what I said. I never had any kids outside my marriage or anything else. That's why I said what I said. You may feel it's easy, Scorch, but those things never happened to me. That's why. So that's why I said what I said to my nieces and nephews for that reason, to let them know.
No, I'm not knocking you, bro. I'm not knocking you. All I'm saying is you have a lot more children that's out of wedlock, and it be for the very reasons because we as adults, we have let our children go awry and go do basically whatever it is they want to do because of the fact of how some of us was raised. We wasn't all the way raised correctly ourselves.
All right, so go ahead.
You got people like Moses here as a baby boomer that let us get away with a few things.
My parents didn't let me get away with shit, bro. My parents were the eyes. My parents were the eyes. They don't play.
Yeah.
You
How y'all doing?
You towing the line.
Real quick.
One way or the other. You towing the line with my parents.
I want to give a shout out to PMP, Poor Man Podcast. He said it last year. He said that the community in Europe, whereby they are gatekeeping the younger generation. They're making sure they're not doing none of this shit that we do here in the US. They say if you that frisky, you pick one person you're gonna be with, and that's the person you're gonna be with that you will get married to. We're not gonna have you bouncing around having fun and you start producing kids out of wedlock. If you feel like you can't control your urge, you might well just get married and get over with because they're not gonna have no one to destroy their community.
Okay.
So imagine people are doing that outside the US now. They're gatekeeping the younger generation. They're saying we not allow you to mess up anything we've been in for thousands of years. If you horny, you cannot control it. You set you your early
I'm
marriage.
about to start
There'll be a wife.
chat.
There'll be a husband. That's how you do it. We got someone in the back right now. We got Chocolate Earth. She's not cammed up, so.
Wait, Chocolate Earth want to come up?
She's up.
Oh,
she's in the
okay.
background.
I didn't see you up there. I didn't hear you.
Hey, how y'all doing? No, it's okay. I was just taking it all in. I came and stopped by.
Yes. Hey, nice to talk to you again. Hey, listen, let me ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Did you see any? Somebody got to go on mute. Listen, we have this. The theme of the show is that women want partners, men want wives. You got any opinion on why women always refer to their significant others as partners as opposed to husbands, or do you see it that way?
I think that yes, you should. A lot of the women that I've spoken with, or a lot of women I know, are, they have those particular types of standards, and I think that it's necessary for any man to know himself so he can know his partner. And the reason we say partner is because when it, unfortunately, just like anything else, words are used to either uplift or put down, right? So when we use the term partner, we use the term instead of husband is because it also is that individualism, and that's not negative, but more of a please look at me in a different light. And when women hear men say, I don't want a partner, I want a spouse. But if I've been out here being a partner, working, doing, making decisions of my own, so on and so forth, it is a fine line that you walk when you try to meet someone who we can coincide. I'm not trying to change a man, and he ain't trying to change me. And I think the titles that we give each other, that definition of what you want needs to be behind it.
Well, okay,
Because I
yeah.
think partner has just become a blanket, you know?
Okay, so this is perfect because that's exactly how I think how women think about it. And men still we don't want partners. We want wives. And you gave me the connotation that somehow a wife is somehow diminished as opposed to
Well,
being a
it's
guy's partner. I mean, because when men say
right.
they want
Well,
wives, well, let me just say this. When men say they want wives,
yeah,
it's not,
sure.
it's
Hmm.
not because they want her to be diminished as a woman, right? We want wives because the wives have a connotation of spirituality to it that if you're a Christian has more meaning than a partner will ever have. So that's the point. So we have this big divide. And that was the purpose of this thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. So how do we bridge that communication divide? Because women ain't going to change. I think that's what the point is. And neither are some men are going to change because some men are talking about partners too. Hey, chocolate herb. Because we got more and more men talking about partners. And so men have always capitulated to what women want. So all these wimpy ass men are starting to say partner as well, which pisses me off, right? Because I think we want to elevate women to wives as opposed to being. If I wanted to be a partner, we'll just sign a partnership agreement and hell with all the rest of it. Why not?
But
How
see, there
about
it
that?
is. For you, the word partner has a definition, right?
Yeah,
Just as
yeah.
you feel partner is negative, there are
No,
a
no,
segment of
not negative.
women that feel like wife or spouse.
Yeah, it's
Well, the
negative.
reason is well, let's just say this. We know that all of the different pieces that play to get you to move along within a society. So I feel like this it is as Black men are speaking of having more families, being more open to do things, different opportunities, so on and so forth. But I also wanted to add the economic piece to it
Okay.
because we live in a society that your finances play a large part of what you're going to do in life. And
Yes.
then it's up to you mentally and spiritually to be comfortable with not trying to compete with everyone, right? You just want, and again, you can have a husband and still describe him as a partner because maybe we are business partners
No, we don't want.
as well as married.
See,
But I
this is
think
good.
what's happening, it's behind the scenes. It's what do you call that? What the value is when you say that word. That's
Yeah.
it. It,
So,
it
so
has no, it has, we're giving it more than it should be because
well,
people are going to decide to call each other what they want in their relationship. But
no,
I just
I don't
wanted to
think.
add this and then I'm done. I just wanted to say the economic side of it, has it ever been discussed that I understand that men want to provide and want to be in those positions of being there for their family. But if housing isn't affordable, if
Okay.
opportunities aren't there, we can't expect people who have kind of been sidelined to do all of this and be mentally
Hold on, baby. Wait a minute.
intellectual and
Okay.
do that. And you were talking about the past, though, when we talk about other cultures, even in this country, yeah, there's people all the time like the Romney. You know about the Romney child people, the Catholics.
Yeah.
They
Oh
only
no.
marry they only marry within their own.
All right.
They don't want you to marry outside of it. It is a gypsy, Irish, when they are commuted. And that still goes on to this day. I just think that if we want to see that things are going to have to be created to give men an opportunity to
Well, talking
feel
Earth, let me say this.
comfortable.
Talking,
Yeah,
let
you
me
got
say
it.
this
Thank
thing
y'all.
before. No, well, before you go anywhere, let me just say this. We're not just in disagreement. What I'm saying is that the disconnect is that when I call a woman my wife, all the other things that you talk about fall under that umbrella, right? Because if I needed my wife to work, just like most people do these days, both people have to work, both people have to bring money in. That doesn't elevate her to a partner more than it does my wife. Because if that's the expectation of my wife that she has to work, all the other conditions that get impacted by the fact that she's out of the house just like I am 40, 50 hours a week. That's a negotiation on how we're going to work together. But
And
that
you
doesn't
said
make
it,
her that doesn't make her not my wife. That
but you don't
doesn't
have to
make her
call her
my
that.
partner. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm never going to call my wife my partner. Never. But she has done more for me than any other woman in my life. But she's my partner underneath the covenant
Yeah.
that we have, not
So
above it.
see, there it is, right there. That is not a large segmented space. It's just like how when we could pinpoint that the majority of black folks went to church at one point in this country, where we went regardless. Easter,
Yeah.
Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So if again, when we look at the blueprint of the society that we're in, and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but as
Yeah. Same.
white men,
Okay.
when they wanted to elevate their men and their and wanted more families because they knew at 100-year move that this is also business. Marriage is business.
Okay.
Also, people
Okay.
make big money off of people getting married. So it's like if they know to set up something for their people to thrive, why then do we penalize each other when we do need certain things? Some of us do need some training wheels. Some of us do need to kind of revamp as who they are. And I'm saying this for men and women both. If we
Now,
want to see that positivity, that blueprint is right there. In the
Yeah. Okay.
1950s, they took the same men, the men we talk about. My grandfather was one of them, hardworking, worked for GMC. These were the boomers. The majority of people lived downtown in that era. They had
Okay.
everybody, Irish, Hispanic, it didn't matter. Chinese didn't matter. Now, I'm a history buff. And this is where it was. So everybody kind of dealt with everyone, regardless if you wanted to, because they were right up on top of you. Now
Okay.
we have the opportunity, we can, on a business level, put people in different economic situations. You see how it is. How do you feel when you got money in your pocket versus how do you feel when you don't? And I land
Okay.
right there. As a man, I lay it right there. Y'all got it. Thanks for letting me
No.
speak.
Black David, you have something to say, but
before
I wanted
talking,
to say something. Go ahead, Black David.
Yeah, go
before
ahead.
telling you what you go, I'm glad she mentioned that. I'm glad she mentioned that aspect of history because it's something as a foreigner I had to do my homework regarding the history of this nation, how people were conducting, how people was acting, because that generation was wise enough to get people together and sit them down and teach about economic, teach about budgeting, teach them how to make things stretch or how to build upon it. Now, I'm not blaming Moses here because he didn't want to throw the tablet on the people. He was kind of kidding up to them. I'm just playing. But the thing is, that art was missing after that generation put to pass the torch down. All of a sudden, we're not getting that information getting spread out. The black churches knew about these information and they didn't even try. I'm being honest with you. Not too many black churches have the time to sit down and teach young couple about budgeting, about finance, what it takes to make the marriage, what you got to do, what you got to be careful. They want to brush them through a loan. They can get that money, pocket that money, see how many
Yeah.
people can throw out and say, yes, we got them married. Then they'll put that money in their bank account. They don't care about the repercussion of not getting them. It's like saying, you met your father working for GMC, right? Do you think we'll put anybody on the factory line who is not properly trained? Let's be real. I'm an IT guy too as well. We don't put no untrained person on the line to do a job they're not properly trained for. too many black churches are putting untrained husband, untrained wife on their factory line called marriage, thinking like it going to work. That when shit hit the fan, I didn't marry with this pastor that married. We don't know what happened. We offer them counseling, etc. No, you bamboozle them. You stuff their money in your pocket. You got fat. You were 18 years pregnant, never lost no weight ever since then. By the time we put you, oh, you thought roll down the hill. Yeah, I'm taking shot. Trust me, I'll start bringing merch. If your pastor is overweight, run to the hills. I ain't playing around.
Okay, so listen, let me just because we're gonna have
That's
to we're
so
gonna have to
wrong.
let me ask you a question, Black David. Is Monday Mayhem happening today or not?
Yes, it happened. I might bring the mayhem first before she
All
bring
right.
it.
Okay. No, I mean, so Embrace is coming on later, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to make listen. Chocolate Earth. Let me also say, listen. I hear what you're saying, but germane to this
Mhm.
conversation that we're having, I don't look at
Yes.
uh calling a woman in a spouse in a relationship. I look at it as the covenant of marriage encompasses all the stuff that you're saying. The economic piece, the spiritual piece, all that stuff, raising children, and all the work that you have to do to
Well,
make your marriage. Wait, well, hold on, let me finish. And have to make your marriage
oh,
work.
I apologize.
And so underneath all of that is the partnership that you're talking about. Because there is an economic and a business component to every marriage that's done right, if you're looking at it properly. All I'm saying is the work you do underneath the umbrella of the covenant, the vows you make with God, all of that work you do to me is to satisfy the conditions of your covenant and your vows to God. That's what I look at. That's how I look at it. So
Well, see, that's
I
what I'm
don't have
saying.
when a person
I
when a
respect
woman,
that.
let me just say when a woman just calls me her partner, I think she's erasing the bigger covenant of what's going on.
Oh,
Because I'm not no woman's partner in a marriage, I'm her husband by all the definitions of what a husband is. And my obligation to her and the family, not only while she's alive, but when she's dead, is more than a partnership agreement will ever write. So that's what I'm saying. So there's a spiritual component to it that I think we forget by bringing it into the secular world and just calling it partnership. That's all I'm saying.
well, I will say this to you, and again, you have to also you have. I'm not saying you have to personally.
No, I'm
What I'm
hearing.
saying is perspective is necessary. You need people to look at the economics. You need to look at people at the mental health stage. We need to look at if a person is disabled. We need these mechanisms in our communities, and we don't have them to help make better people. It's almost like we expect, even though we benefit from what white men have created alongside. There were black men, Chinese men, all kinds of men, but who won the ribbon was the white guy, right? So now we're in this position where we've been raised in this society. I have no issue with religion. That to me is a separate, it's a compartmental thing for me, because again, I feel like it's about who you are as a person. You are going to have to dig deep, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you're religious or not. If you have issues with relationships with men and women,
Hmm.
especially black men and women, it's okay to know y'all. See, it's interesting because I have been kind of bopping around these last few weeks, and I've noticed that a lot of the women, because it's not a lot of us that are like up front in this space, right? There's only a few of us who have our own shows and continuously kind of keep in this space.
Hmm.
And we do speak for a segment of women. I speak for a second segment of women. I am a single woman. I've raised my brothers and sisters. I don't
Hmm.
have children. I am into agriculture and those type of things, buying land, that kind of stuff. So it is incumbent for me to not lie to myself and just go pick any dude, right? Because
No,
that's
but
what's going
heaven
on.
forbid. Heaven forbid.
That's what's going on. No, no, but hear me, sir. This is what's happening. This is what y'all are seeing in real time.
I know that.
People
I know
not
that.
having But here's the thing where we drop the ball as a community. We don't have any mechanisms in place to help people be better in their relationships. If you
When
are
you
like,
say
no, no,
no
no,
mechanism,
hold on, real quick, real
I'm
quick. When I
asking
say
you a question.
mechanism,
Okay,
because I want to make sure my words are clear. When I
okay.
say mechanism, I'll name you three. We don't have an all black gated community for working poor and poor folks. We do not own the insurance companies that use us as guinea pigs. We
Hmm.
do not own the land that we sit our homes on.
True.
Because the minute, no matter how close you are, fuck up on that payment, excuse my language, and they coming for you.
Hmm.
We are not in control of the education system. We should have been had our own schools. Black folks had over 500 schools in this country. Now we're down to like 300, and the majority of those are either for some type of like autism, little babies, that kind of stuff. We don't even have a community college. We expect so much from us as black folks, but we weren't given the tools, and then we want to reprimand each other and go, well, I got them, so you need to, and quit having your hand out and don't be begging. Listen, how else are you going to know I need help if I don't say anything? And it's the same thing with black men and black women. We need help. There's no rehabs for our drug addicts. There's no elderly housing for our older people. Listen, you got the boomers is the largest group. You know it. And
Okay.
they're not able to afford housing. And the reason I bring all of that up is because a community has to be in place so that we can allow these young folks y'all talking about to see it, not just talk it, not just tell me, let me see how you're going to assist in benefiting me. If I have an affordable house, then me and my man, even though we work at Wendy's, me and my man can raise our family and not have to worry and not feel bad or, oh, I don't make enough money. It doesn't make sense. So there is a huge economic
Hold on
piece
for a second.
that
Let me
has
give
that.
you
You're
clip
saying
this
a lot
whole
of
part
stuff,
that
and I
you
don't
just dropped.
disagree with any of the stuff you're saying, except that you're talking about the elephant that needs to have. How do you bite an elephant that big? And one of the things that I would like to say is there are gated communities that are black. We just don't know about them. There are people building and selling these prefabricated houses that have a black business. I don't know how big they are, but one of the things I think we miss is that we don't look at the little small successes because they're not internalized. Well, we had a chance of. Let me tell you, at one point when we were forced to be together, and you know this if you're a history buff, before integration, we had businesses, we had neighborhoods, we had all that. But when integration came, we flew out of the neighborhoods just as fast as the white people. We
Well,
flew
no
out of
disrespect.
hold on. We flew out of supporting black businesses for a few reasons. One, since they didn't have to have the competition of being competitive, they didn't improve the way they should have. So we started looking for the bargain just like everybody else's. The white man's ice cream was a little colder and all that other kind of shit. And Martin Luther King, even himself, started to feel bad about where he led us to because he was the champion of integration. Now in America, black people are the only people talking about integration. Or was, I think we're reverting back to what we used to be because there's people wanting to be in only all black spaces. I think that Rubicon has been crossed.
Well, I don't.
I think that, well, what I'm saying is, I know you're doing some great things, right? But it
No,
has to
no, no, no,
start.
no. It's not about that.
No, no. Let me
It's
finish saying this.
about.
Let me just
Oh,
say
I'm
this.
sorry. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that it has to start with the snowball rolling down the hill that picks up momentum and a critical mass. And I don't know how we get there, right? Marriage used to be one of the things that kept us together. Now that's almost gone. And now
Well, I
when we're
don't.
talking about now we're talking about marriage. We're not even talking about the vows and what we mean to each other. We're talking about being partners.
Well,
We're talking
well, what
about
about the courting? We haven't even gotten to courting. How do
well,
you know what I mean? How do you
well,
find a
well,
That
person?
makes
Oh,
sense.
I'm
I didn't mean
sorry.
to cut
Go
you off,
ahead.
chocolate.
I had some stuff on courting myself, but go
No,
ahead. So
no, no. I
now,
was agreeing with what you're saying. They don't.
let me
The
just say
problem
this.
is
I'm
you
gonna let the
have
sister.
individuals.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Now I was going to piggyback what you were saying, chocolate Earth. I agree with you, and I think I remember mentioning at one point You got young people that don't know the importance of courting. Just sitting down, talking to the person, getting to know the person, just small talk, little things like that. And that was something that I remember seeing in movies. And I remember old heads was playing that to me. And I'll be honest, I used to fool around with older women. I was groomed by older women that I fooled around with, and they taught me some things as well at the same time. They said communication is
Let you to phrase
key.
cougar from now
Being a good
on, not old
listener is
woman.
key. Maintain eye contact. Say
Yeah.
again?
Have y'all asked the Gen Zers and the millennials what they think about courting? Have y'all asked?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
hold on.
I have one.
Okay, so my point is that the ones who want to court, right? I mean, we got to take them out of these spaces like the YouTube's, echo chambers, right? Because it seems like nobody really wants to court. Because if I was going to ask you to go out with me, and I was a Gen Zer, and you say I got to spend $500 just to get to know you, we ain't going out.
Who's saying
And that's
that? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I muted.
That's all over the internet. There's people asking for crazy demands. If you say I want to just have a talk with you, I want to do this. That's different demands. Send me your cash app. This the young people that I hear on these streets saying they can't get a regular date without putting up something up front. So I'm staying out of that business.
But
that's what I'm saying.
I put a video out.
Oh, go ahead.
I put a video out on the 10 steps of courting and vetting a woman for marriage. And the Gen Zers
like
and the millennials kick my ass because they say that's not how people are today. Right? And
it's
I'm
sad,
saying,
but it is. But you know what it is also?
What?
But you know what it is, Arpan? Old man, what it is you got people that want marriage benefits but got to jump off work ethic.
I agree.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Let me tell you what's even worse. If you mention, let's have a coffee date. Oh, you get work than getting cursed out. You broke? You got no money?
Oh my gosh.
Coffee date for what?
What's going on?
So I'm gonna be. Y'all might think this is silly, but I will say this. Then, if that's the case, and these men have no ability to speak, and let's kind of come up on this age range, okay? Because from the ages of, I'd say 25 to 45, so like a 20-year span of women, right? Some of them do different things, different segments, on and on, nuance. I find it surprising. It has nothing to do. I'm not a pick me, y'all. Just want to let you know. But I don't understand why men don't have like their own dating service or their own matchmaking service. Again, blueprint right here in our faces. If we really are trying to put people together to create something better, then people have to step in to help. We can't just expect everyone individually to know what to do. Like, it's not fair, especially when we don't provide anything as an opportunity. Go ahead, sir.
The real sad part about that, Chocolate, is some guys don't want to put in the work. Also, let's be honest. If you a 16, 17, 18-year-old young man and you starting to talk to girls and you're dating, you want to start dating, who's usually the first person you go to that gives you ideas on what to do when talking to girls? You go to your dad. Sadly, a lot of brothers don't have their dads in their life for whatever reason. So they're not taught that. Also, some guys have their older brothers. But here's the thing. The older brothers are also in the same situation. They don't know what to do because their dads probably weren't in the situation. Like, there's some things I learned from my father. My father taught me the importance of communication, to talking to people, just keep it small and simple. I learned things over time from my older cousins as well. During my time in the Army and everything else, I kind of had a little fun here and there. But when I started dating older women and I started doing, and I had some of these older women groom me, it just took it to a whole new level. Like, wow. And they were just like, don't worry about the sex and everything else. That will come later. They were like, always maintain eye contact, be a good listener, learn how to put together a mental Rolodex, little things like that. Put it all together, and then when you're ready to go out there to date, Now you're ready. And that's what those ladies did to me. So when I started dating and everything else, kept it
No,
simple, talked and everything else. I met my wife at the job. That's how we met. That's how we've been together for so long. I remember picking her up from work on my day off, going, picking her up from the job, driving back to her house, and we just sat in the car and talked. That's all we did. We just sat there and talked till the sun came up. When she went inside and I drove off, I was like, yo, she's pretty cool people.
So listen, let me go. We're gonna have to do final thoughts. So we're gonna have some listen, go ahead. Chocolate, I'm glad you came
Lady
up. It's
first.
good to get a
Lady
woman's
first.
perspective on some of this stuff. So it's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for having me.
So final thoughts.
Ladies first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Thank you. I'll be a lady. Berg, I'll be a lady right now. Anyway, I want to say again, thank you for having me up. Thank you for allowing me to share my perspective. And like I said, some people call me corny or I'm a dreamer. However, we know that we can have a positive impact on each other's lives. And I think don't be afraid to look at yourself in the mirror. You deserve to be cared for and loved, and you want to find someone, and it's hard. Look at yourself first. Just make sure to take a look in anything you need to do. But again, I do hope that brothers around the world have a good day.
All right, you too.
Oh, now here you come, Treyford.
Trey first.
Come back, Chocolate. Make sure you come back sometime. Go ahead.
I will.
You got it. Go ahead, Antoine. What you got?
All right, my final thought is this. Oh man, thanks for having me on the panel and everything else. This is my first time on your show. I got a chance to be on because I'm not at work because I am recovering from a medical situation. My final thoughts is this. Fellas, don't be afraid to go out there and try. If you don't get there, so be it. Ladies, same thing. I feel marriage is sacred. It's important. And the benefits are beautiful in so many ways. So don't be so quick to discount and feel like, well, I just want to be with this person for so long. I'll be with this person because, I don't need a piece of paper, or I'm afraid what's going to happen. Here's the thing. Do not base your relationship on what other people have done or what these celebrities are doing or what you see on social media. What works for these individuals may not work for you. Take your time. Yes, when you're young, have a little fun, this, that, and the other, but at the same time, keep your eye on the prize at the same time. And when you get to that point, and when you meet that person, and you know you're ready to settle down and make it official, you will know, and that person will know as well. That's why I tell people, find your dream makers. Dreams are the ceilings to reality. When you find that person, and he or she is with you, and they want to grow with you and to get better in so many ways, whatever your belief system is, use that to make you better than who you are, but also be willing to change and to adapt at the same time. Don't try to be the same person down the road for the next 20, 30 years. You learn to evolve and grow, become a better version of who you currently are. The same person you are when you start dating at 25, you're not going to be the same person at 45. So be willing and give yourself an opportunity to grow. Work together, build each other up, make each other better, because believe me, once you make it official and you say I do, and you're a husband and wife, that's when you start putting in the real work even more to build and to work and to grow and to thrive. And it's a beautiful thing. And I know some people don't believe in marriage or feel like, yo, man, I'm not going to put in that time. So be it. But if you still feel like marriage is that important to you, excuse me, put in the work. Take your time. Don't feel like you got to have it now. Have the patience and the wherewithal to be ready when that situation happens, but also put in the time to work and know who to weed out, what type of person to date or type of person not to date. Because Rome wasn't built in a day. But I'll tell you this right now, you're not going to paint a masterpiece that quickly. So give yourself time. Don't be afraid to ask for advice from people that you know that are successful, who are married for X number of years, people who've been married for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Ask them. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll be willing to give you some advice or give you some pointers on what to do to make things better. And believe me, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to put in the time, and if you're willing to put in everything that goes with it, and y'all willing to grow together, believe me, once you say I do, and you become Mr. and Mrs., and you both have those rings on your fingers with each other, it's the best feeling to ever have. That's all I gotta say. And those
All
are some
right,
words
bro.
we're thinking about.
Hey, thanks for
Thank you.
coming up, man. Hey, Trey
Shout out to
Bird, how you doing,
Anton
man?
and
Go
shout
ahead,
out to
come in. So this is
Anton's
your
daughter
first.
who trying to steal the
Your,
spotlight behind him
all
every
right,
now and
man.
then.
Hold
That's my
on for a
daughter
second.
Avery. Hold on. Avery, come
Wait,
say hi. Can you say hi to these gentlemen? Say hi.
hey, hello,
This is
hello,
Avery.
hello.
This is my firstborn.
All right,
That's
hi,
the
Avery.
little hands that
Yeah,
been
I
I
know.
being
know she trying
annoying.
to steal your
But
spotlight, man.
that
Every
but
time
this
she's
is the
like,
beauty.
she like,
But this is also
hello.
one of the beauty. This is one of the beautiful results of marriage as well. When
That's
you
right.
when
Children.
it's parenthood.
You like my
That's
nails?
right.
You let me better myself.
Yeah.
Oh God,
But that's
Hey,
what it
Trey
she
is.
raised
Bird,
That
my
how you
daughter
doing,
much
that
in
man?
the same way.
Hey, Trey,
Spotlight
man.
stealer.
So you up here, man. So you get the first and last word at the same time, man. What
Oh,
you think? How
listen,
much did you catch?
what's up, our Payne, man? You know, I
Uh,
got the show
The
late, man.
floating head.
Hey, listen to me, man. Hey, man, shout out to all the married people, man. Listen, don't get back out on these damn streets. It's too fucking complicated. If you decide to get married based off everything I've been hearing, read your state laws, understand your state laws, see what can happen, just in case somebody get nervous down the road or whatever. But you have to understand who you are, and our Payne says it all the time. The role is to be a husband and a wife. That's what we read. If you can show me somewhere where it read a man and a woman to be a partner, then hey, so. But I don't know, man. It's hard to even talk about it anymore as far as
That's all
who
right,
the
man.
role
Hey,
is,
man, next time.
because
Hey, I'm glad you popped up, brother. Hey, go
no,
ahead, Black David. What you got, man? Oh, you finished? Go ahead. Pay for get more.
I just
I'll
hope,
make
I
it
just
quick
hope
and
that
simple. I'm gonna say I'm glad that Chocolate Earth came in and dropped that nugget because this was we were saying throughout last year.
she ain't dropping.
Because no, let me tell you why I say it, because I say the same exact thing last year before and year before that concerning the community. Because when we don't have these things, their effect that is their piece to the puzzle. Our Payne dropped some serious nugget. Anton dropped some serious nugget. Scott all dropped some serious nugget. We had ED Pimp Jones up in here trying to troll us up in here. I had to change his name from Easy Money to Easy Pimp because he pimping. But this is a legit conversation that we need to have, because at the end of the day, if you're not serious about this, don't do it, because I don't ask me about African culture. They don't play around with that one at all either. They are, I could say, barbaric. You don't let you mess with their daughter without no repercussion. Real talk. So you don't mess with that African man daughter. We do,
Right.
well, don't call me. I will not help you. I will not blow no blow dart to save you. I ain't doing none of that. I'll say I do not know you. Real talk. But other than that, this has been a really, really good, productive conversation. BM, you better clip these things. There's a lot of German in this conversation. Other than that, that is my final thought. Oh no.
Oh,
Our Payne had some technical difficulty. I think Moses did not charge his tablet. Since Moses is so Asian right now, he did not. Oh, he back.
Yeah, I'm back. Hey, listen,
Moses,
man. Finally, yeah, man.
Moses,
My
what
computer
happened,
just started to.
Moses? You
Well,
pot the
hold on.
water properly?
Well, hold on, man. My computer just started to act up for some reason right at the end. Hey, listen, let me go ahead and take you out of here, man. Put me on the screen there, man, Black David, and you can final
Okay.
thoughts with it. Yeah, bye. All right. Hey, listen, thanks for everybody in the chat coming up. All the panelists, Antoine, Black David, Trey Fur coming up the end, Chocolate Earth. Hey, listen, the point really is that when we talked about women want partners and men want wives, the truth is that when you're in a marriage, and that's what I'm talking about, the default value for your relationship is partnership. That's the default value, right? Because you're making an agreement to be married. But the goal is to elevate to yourselves to fulfill the covenant that you promised to God and to each other. That's the point, right? So So you're just beginning as a partnership, taking care of business, taking care of all that kind of stuff. But that does not encompass the spiritual part of your relationship, right? So you have to build that. You have to grow together. You have to look at the mark. What's that? 8 to 10, whatever that the verse was, to talk about how you cleave to each other, become one unit, right? So that's the deal. That's the challenge. And that's the beauty of being married to somebody, to understand that together you guys could conquer anything you need to conquer, build a family, begin generational wealth, do any kind of thing, because when you're molded together, the spirit will be with you. So that's what I wanted to say. Hey, thanks for coming up again. Until next week, we'll come up with something else. Black David, take us out of here. Good night, everybody. I appreciate it.